oh boy, is this guy a monster. Just in general terms, this guy is a very strong killer with a lot of very fun aspects to his kit. However, I believe this build on the screen is probably the build that is currently strongest with all the current perks and add-ons and what they all do. This is subject to change after all, this is the PTB. But I believe right now this is the strongest build you can possibly have on Nemesis, and I'll explain why. First off is Lethal Pursuit. This shows the aura of survivors for the first 7 seconds of the trial. This is very important on killers that have a slow start to the game, like Nemesis, like Oni, and like Myers. So expect to see this perk a lot when it hits live. Then we got Monitor and Abuse. Monitor and Abuse is very good on this killer for a similar reason to Lethal. It makes your early game a lot easier, and that's because Monitor and Abuse allows you to sneak up on survivors a bit easier than you could otherwise. You will never be able to do a sneak build with Nemesis because just like Demogorgon, his footsteps are incredibly loud and you can hear them from across a tile. So don't expect to be really sneaking up on anybody even with something like Dark Devotion. But Monitor and Abuse does allow you to get that early hit very easily, especially on outdoor maps. Hex Ruin is incredibly powerful on this killer. I'd say almost more so than any other killer. If not, it's definitely on par with the killers like Hillbilly and Nurse, and that is because Nemesis can quite literally pressure 3 different gens at the exact same time, with a little bit of luck from the zombies. The zombies will just passively go around to generators, and they'll sit there for a little bit. Any survivor who is currently working on the generator has to risk getting hit by the zombie, or they have to choose some way of getting rid of the zombie, whether that be blinding it, killing it with a pallet, or even just running away and coming back. Or even some survivors, myself included, will do a little bit of a ring around the rosy game with the generator, try and finish it in the zombie's face. If you've got tier 3 Ruin, doing a little bit of the ring around the rosy or running away will cost you a lot of time on that generator, to the point where it's not really worth doing, but some people are so stubborn they do it anyways. And finally, we've got Save the Best for Last. Save the Best for Last is stupidly good on this guy. I wouldn't say it's as good as Demogorgon, but this guy is definitely a Save the Best for Last monster. And the reason is because his tentacle, while a little wonky at first, is very, and I mean very good at saving stacks, because you can pull it out and attack very quickly. Once you get the hang of it, you'll be hitting people a lot with it. You'll be saving stacks, you'll be gaining stacks from M1ing, because his tentacle you can use as a zoning tool as much as you can use to actually attack people. So it's very nice, it's very useful to have Save the Best for Last on this killer. Then for the add-ons, I believe the best 2 are Tyrant Gore and Marked. Tyrant Gore is the weaker of the 2 because it can be interchanged with either the T-sample or the Zombie Heart. They all do similar things, but there's a little bit of a difference, where Zombie Heart just increases the amount that you catch from a zombie when you eat them with your tentacle. Tyrant Gore increases the amount you get to an equal degree of the Zombie Heart, but it also makes the zombies respawn a little bit faster, which isn't really a big deal, but it is kind of nice and it can help in certain situations. And the T-Virus sample is honestly a bit overkill, but if you're really struggling to get tier 3 consistently, you can run this. Other add-ons that are worth looking at are the Serotonin Injector and the Flicker Tongue. These both are very good add-ons that, while not quite as good as the other 2, or the other 3 technically, are still very useful and worth running from time to time. If you don't have these perks, a couple things that you can do is, if you don't have one of these perks like Monitor or Save the Best for Last, you can replace it with Undying to keep your Ruin alive a little bit longer. If you don't have Ruin, you can use something like I'm All Ears or Whispers to help your chases go a little bit faster so you aren't stuck in chases long and you've got a better chance of going to the generators. Whispers is a common perk, so you should have no difficulty getting it with a little bit of luck points. One final thing to note about Nemesis is that he does take time to learn. His projectile is very weird and is very unique feeling compared to all the other projectile killers in the game. My best advice is just practice. If you want to get good with Nemesis, practice your attack on your zombies, on survivors. If you can get some friends, get together, get in a lobby, just get a feel for what you can and can't attack through, and what you can and cannot reach with your tentacle. Because it is very confusing, admittedly, when you first start. But you will get a feel for it, and you will get better, and you will get some very nice shots once you get the hang. And yeah, I'll be posting some gameplay. Videos pretty soon. I'd like to say, of just me going over some with commentary, some without, just so you guys can get a feel of how I use this build, how I play Nemesis, and overall, just what I think is probably the best play style. I'm still not claiming to be the best Nemesis player. I don't think anyone can right now, because he's such a new killer. He's only been out for a little over a day and a half now, technically. So there's still a lot more to learn about this killer, and I'm learning this stuff basically every match I play still. But it's going to take time, and this is a killer I really enjoy, so I do want to try and get decent with him. I'm not trying to be the best, but I do believe that I've got a lot of experience on him, considering that I've climbed from rank 7 to rank 1, and have about 12 hours of him, 12 hours on him in the PTB. So if you were wondering why you should believe anything I say, those are my, I guess, credentials of this. With all that said, happy hunting.